Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining the Intuition Revolution. I'm your host, Kim Chesney, and today's guest, Kelly Noonan Gores, is the director and executive producer of the Heal documentary and book. Yeah. Kelly is so passionate and creative. She is a prolific actress, writer, and producer, doing so much to heal the world by creating powerful consciousness-raising projects. She has picked the brains of some of the world's leading holistic healers like Deepak Chopra, Joe Dispenza, Marianne Williamson, and so many others. And I'm super excited to talk with her now about the healing role of intuition. So welcome, Kelly.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited. Heal is such a wonderful film, for so many reasons. It really focuses on this miraculous nature of the human body, right? How we all have this ability to harness our body-mind connection and take back our health and well-being. So could you tell us a little bit about what inspired you to create this film to begin with?
Sure. I think it was just that. The more I learned, the more I was just so fascinated and curious about human potential and, the power of the mind. And then, started to learn how our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions affected our physical body. And then, it was like science and spirituality. I was just so passionate and curious about finding out what we're capable of, human potential, finding out how to have optimal health and, an experience on this planet. So, it was over a lifetime of little things along the way, but essentially what I ended up doing is just putting all the teachers that really inspired me, whether it was I'd go to a conference or read their book, and I put them all into a film to empower others because I just learned so much from each and every one of them. And my life changed, kept getting better and better and better. And I wanted to share their message with the world.
I love that, because I think it was Maya Angelou who once said that she writes all the books that she would want to read. And I love that, right? So that was sort of this impetus behind this creative impulse you had, which, you wanted to share all of the stuff that you learned with everybody else. And I love that. That is such a great mark of creative genius at work there, putting that out to the world. And, and one of the things I really love, one of the themes that came up in this work was this idea about healing. And if you want to heal, you have to get to the energetic root of a physical problem, right? And I think I heard this over and over again throughout the film. It seemed to be this sort of running conversation in different ways, and how we have to find the purpose in our pain. It's not random. All this stuff we suffer and we have chronic issues, but it's meaningful, right? There's something there. And if we discover that meaning, then we can help heal. And that's really where intuition comes in, pivoting back to this conversation is, how we tune in to that world inside us to figure out those imbalances and stuff. And so how do you feel about intuition in your life and the connection with your healing and stuff?
Yeah. I think that intuition is everything. I feel like it is our higher self guiding us. It's our connection to source, a higher intelligence from which we come. And so, and sometimes we need something in our life that's a wake up call so that we can get back in touch and alignment with that voice, which will never lead us astray.
Right.
The trick is, discerning what's our intuition and what's our kind of intellectual mind. So just, everybody's on some sort of healing journey. It varies in kind of grade and severity based on what you need to learn and for specific to your life lesson.
Right.
And like you said, it's these symptoms, these pains, these circumstances, it's all feedback. It's all energy. It's all a conversation trying to wake you up. Right. So symptoms in your physical body are trying to wake you up to say, look, something's out of balance here. Let's make some course corrections. Let's change our lifestyle. Let's look at past trauma that we haven't dealt with. All of those things. And, your intuition, which we need to cultivate practices to get quiet.
Oh, so
we
true.
hear our intuition. We're so bombarded with information right now. It's hard to, we don't give our minds a chance to quiet down so that we can hear what our heart is trying to say to us. So, we talk about all of that in the film, but I think it's key. Kelly Turner was a cancer researcher, and she wrote an amazing book called Radical Remission. And she discovered 9 things, which she now added a 10th thing. But of those 10 key factors of healing, what all of these radical spontaneous cancer people that have healed when their doctors told them there was nothing else they could do for them, all 1,500 people that she studied healed, and they all did these 10 things, and only 3 of them are physical. The rest are mental, emotional, and spiritual, and one of them is listening to your intuition. So it's a biggie.
Yes. I'm going to have to talk to her, because you're going to apply some of this radical intuition to the radical remission, right? I'm seeing a theme here.
Yes, exactly. No, she's a wealth of information, and it's all scientifically backed.
And I loved her sessions when I was watching the film, what she was saying about just really about this whole connection with our intuitive side. And I love this idea that it's not just, we don't just deal with the body to heal, right? We don't just take a pill. We don't just go exercise and eat better. Those are important, right? But there's more to it than that, because people who do those things still get sick, right?
Exactly. And that's why, and the film is not anti-Western medicine. Right. There's a time and a place for everything.
Compliment.
Yes. Right. We're very blessed to have technology and science and amazing, drugs to get us over the hump out of an acute situation, stop the proverbial bleeding,
right.
or the literal bleeding. But, but, we need to learn, that that's only according, and her research is specific to cancer, but I feel intuitively that it applies to any chronic illness, that only, 30% of it is physical, 70% of it is mental, emotional, and spiritual. So if people can be aware of that ratio, like if you choose to take a treatment like chemo or radiation, again, that's only dealing with the physical. That should only be 30% of your protocol.
Oh, I love that.
You have to support the immune system and do all the mental, emotional, and spiritual work in, like complementing whatever treatment you do.
I love that. So it's really this full spectrum kind of healing, right? You're focusing all the different dimensions of your body, your mind, your heart, your spirit, and working on them in tandem.
Yes.
And that makes so much sense.
That's the formula.
That's that. And the way you said that we've kind of forgotten how intelligent our body is. Like, I love that, right? Because there is that intelligence that we take for granted, that's happening every day. But we have to still kind of tune into that and get more in touch with it. Like, what can we do to like work with our bodies to heal, to work with that intelligence alongside it?
Exactly. And that's, there's this pandemic of panic right now because of the coronavirus. And what we're forgetting that, it's people feel powerless against this like crazy pathogen out there killing people, and not to mock it, because there are people that have been severely affected by it.
Right.
But we're forgetting that like we have this amazing body and immune system that's designed to fend off pathogens and coronaviruses of all kinds. And, thankfully, and hopefully this is not as serious as SARS or MERS, because that was a little, or Ebola, like these are much scarier, but our body is designed to fend off pathogens like this type of coronavirus. The people that are susceptible their immune systems are weakened because of age or because of underlying conditions. So we have the power in this moment to boost our immune system, which is our natural defense. And people are feeling powerless, but it's like, no, there's so much you can do to boost your own natural defenses. And your immune system is designed to get this virus and keep it at bay and get it out of your body,
It's so funny because that reminds me of a story when I was younger and I was at work, and we had this candy dish and that we'd all share, and had like M&Ms in it or something. And I was like always suspicious of this candy dish, because everyone's putting their hands in it. And this coworker of mine was a total germaphobe, and this girl walked up one day and she came and she just stuck her hand in and started eating all this. And my coworker was like, "You shouldn't eat that. Like who knows whose hand has been in that candy dish?" And she's like, "Well, that's why I have an immune system." And it's kind of stuck in my head, because it was like, I didn't really think about it like that, right? We know it's always there, but you think, oh, right, we actually have like a system designed for this, you know? We're
Yeah.
not just out there at the mercy of every germ that comes along. You know?
Right, right. And that's, and I think the governments are doing the right thing, to try and, all of these other additional steps, are protecting the people that are vulnerable, and it's great, and trying to stop the spread, while they learn more about this virus. But individually, you can do things to enhance your own
Right.
individual defense.
Right. And I love the visualization. Like I actually have been doing the little visualization that I forget who it was. Someone was talking about the Pac-Man coming
Oh,
and like
yeah.
getting rid of the tumors or the germs or whatever, right? Using that. And of course, like Joe Dispenza's story is amazing, using that power of visualization to heal yourself. And it works, like it works. And that's the thing that's crazy about it is you think like, oh, it sounds like I'm just going to visualize this and it's just going to happen. But, I tried it and I was like, because I've had some chronic issues with my neck. I've had I'd have spinal fusion. So I know I get this whole chronic pain stuff, but there was meaning in it. When I had this huge injury when I was like 27, putting on my coat. That's all I was doing. Just putting
Oh,
on my
wow.
coat. And it was like my neck blew out and all this stuff. But it was on the first day of my first real job that I ever had, right? Before that, I was an artist. I was painting. I'm like, I'm never going to sell out, right? And so this part of me, I think, was just
Wow.
like, you're just selling out. And you know what I mean? Like I couldn't bring this into balance. And there was this meaning there. And as I grew in my life to come to terms with that, my issues got better, right? I was able to
Wow.
manage it. So like I've witnessed that change. So I mean,
Yeah.
the things that you're saying, I've gone through my life, and it's so wonderful to see those validations out there and to share that so other people know that, yeah, like by bringing light to these problems and facing them, you really can help the healing process.
Yes, that's so cool that you got that message. And there's always, and I love that. I'm always like trying to figure out the mysteries of life, but there's so much. It's just this conversation. I mean, your intuition or your soul was going, this doesn't
Yes.
feel right for you to
Yes.
spell
Right.
out.
It's a feedback, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, I love that. It's feedback. My body was giving me some feedback that day.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, no, don't do it.
Don't do it. Run for your life.
The visualization, we're constantly visualizing in every moment, and most of us, because of the way our brains are designed for survival, we are visualizing a future scenario that we don't want to happen, which
Right.
is causing us anxiety, right? And a lot of us are feeling it. So if we can become aware and go, oh, our minds are constantly visualizing, and usually we're worrying and visualizing about something we don't want to happen, and then
we attract it.
We attract it. Yeah. Ultimately it happens because we're visualizing it. Let's take the reins of our mind back and start to daily practice of visualizing what we do want. We're still doing it. We just got to harness it in the right direction.
Right.
And if you practice that, your neuroplasticity, you're making better habits, and it's going to be easier and easier, and your brain is going to be less designed to, or less pulled to go into that worst case scenario visualization all the time.
Right, because you're becoming more conscious, right? So by getting and putting your consciousness and your intention on it, you're not like at the mercy of all these unconscious thoughts and fears and anxieties that that take over. And that really kind of circles back to intuition too, because intuition really is about trust. And it's about trust in yourself and trust in, your path and the universe. And when you get into this state of trust, then this other stuff, these fears and anxieties and all these worst case scenarios, they don't bother you as much because you're not tuning into that energy. You're tuning into like, okay, this is me. I'm going to trust myself. I'm going to honor my instincts. I'm going to go with what feels right. And then you feel more secure. It's not like you're just, oh, maybe I'm making the right choice, or maybe I'm not, because and you're aligned with that inner center.
Exactly. And that trust thing is huge. And that's ultimately what I found at the end of all my research and doing this film, is that like the highest healing is really spiritual, and getting to that belief that whatever term you use, life, universe, God, is benevolent and always working for you and your unfoldment of, your evolution of your soul. So if you can get to that place of trust with that belief system, allows you to live in the present moment, and you just go, okay, my intuition will guide me in every moment. And then the other part of it is like, I can't ever do anything wrong. Everything unfolds perfectly. Even if I, you know, put on that coat and take the job that I'm not meant to have for my soul, it's like, you are meant to do that. So you can't do it wrong. You can't make a mistake. And then you can live in trust and follow your intuition. And, you know, it may take you on a path that gets you to the same place. It's just a different path, you know?
I love that you said that and that you brought that up, because that's exactly what happened. And, you know, in the beginning, in the early years, you know, I kind of had an idea that was all connected, but I was resentful because it was a path I didn't think I should be taking, right? There was a part of me that I wasn't aligned. I didn't feel like I was aligned to it. But now looking back on it, the things and the skills that I learned at that time are essential for what I'm doing now. And it gave me this foundation to follow the dreams and live the dreams that I'm doing right now. But I didn't see it at the time, right? I had all this resistance to it. So I wasn't trusting the path and I wasn't trusting the way. And I had all this resistance, and it, you know, showed up in these different ways, when really, like you just said, you know, we can fail forward, we can take chances, whatever. We just have to get from those moments what the universe is bringing us. I appreciate it.
I love it. Exactly.
Oh, that's great. So you talked to all these people. I have a couple more questions for you. You talked to all these really cool people, and did you come across any cool stories about, you know, people really connecting with their intuition that really helped them with their healing? I know you touched on it throughout the documentary, but I was curious if just in the backside or in any of your personal experiences.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the survivor mentality of where, you know, if you go to a doctor, and you listen to everything they say with that, but something doesn't feel right. I've heard so many stories of people listening to that voice and going, okay, I'm going to go get a second opinion, or that doesn't feel right, and I'm going to pull myself away from this course of treatment, whatever, and do my own research and dive in. And those are the people that really take control of their health back, you know? And if you just go into a doctor and get the diagnosis, and then and one of the big messages of the film is like, go to the best doctors, get the diagnosis, but don't ever accept anyone's prognosis, which is, don't let a doctor tell you what's possible in your life. Don't let them make you a statistic, because that has the power to take away all hope. And so if something doesn't feel right with you, or you, you know, those are the people that listen to that voice and not give all their power away to, the doctor,
Right.
You know, that are survive, that heal, you know? So intuition is huge. And I really just want to encourage, like, it's such a necessary, it's so scary sometimes when people are telling you that what's going on in your body and you have this disease, and then you start to get on Google and it's just this unraveling fear.
Don't do it.
And we have to create space. We've got to breathe. We've got to turn within and know that there is this much wiser, more intelligent, you know, voice that's going to guide you either confirm that your doctor is giving you the right course of treatment, or going, there might be other things that I should try first.
Right now, and it seems like some of these really extraordinary stories are these stories of people who, you know, like I think it was Elizabeth Craig you know, she had this horrible diagnosis of stage 4 cancer, but she didn't like give up, and she didn't like cash in the chips. You know, she listened, and she went, and she did all this work with her inner self and her intuition. And it's these cases where you listen to that, you know, something doesn't feel right, or something is drawing me to do this. You know, those are the cases that become extraordinary, when you have these healing experiences, that when people say you can't do it. And that's one of the things I always love about intuition. It's like, you know, for all the people that tell you that you can't do something and you do it anyway, like, that's your intuition, because everyone will tell you your whole life, oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. But we are the only ones that know what we can do and can't do, right?
Exactly.
We know our extraordinary path. And we have that vision, and it's our calling and our feeling in our gut, and tuning into that makes all the difference, you know, and it can literally be life or death, you know, it can make the difference.
Yes, exactly. And just making the film was such an intuitive process. It was such a growth for me to really trust my intuition, because, it was, I'd been thinking about doing the film for like 8 years, was never really ready to do it, but it was marinating and kept gathering. And I was finally ready to do it, but I've never directed a film before. But I just knew that the calling in my heart to do it was so strong that if I followed it, like if I said yes to that calling, like everything would kind of unfold. But even at first I was like surrounding myself with people that I could get advice, bounce my intuition off of, because I didn't have experience as a director. And then after about a month or 6 weeks into the process, I was like, wait a second, this is my baby. I have, I have good instincts, and I can't be afraid to make a mistake. I can fail forward, as you said, but I started just listening to and following my instinct, and everybody just like supported me around me and really trusted my intuition as well. And it was just such a cool process of like finding and trusting that guidance,
Yeah, I love that. It was that your own, you making this was an intuitive journey of your own, right? And
totally.
Oh my gosh. And when you get aligned, and that's the thing that, when we talk about this calling and how you just have this inspiration, and intuition is also so deeply tied in with creativity and the creative process. So by honoring that calling, like I always say, it's like our duty. Like when we have a calling, it's not just like, oh, it's a nice little bit of inspiration that came to us. No, like, no, once that comes to you, like it's your duty to bring that into the world. Like that's why it's here, because our intuition wants to become real. It doesn't want us to say, oh, that was our intuition. No, our intuition wants to manifest.
Yes.
So it's like our duty when we have these callings and this inspiration to do things. So, and then, but the universe rewards you, like you just said, because when you followed it, what happened? The doors opened, things lined up, right?
There was a total energy behind it. Yep.
Yeah. And you were aligned, right?
It's
That's
flow.
how
Exactly.
So that's awesome. That is such a great story. Well, this has been such a wonderful conversation. I love talking with you. We'll have to do this again. I really appreciate you coming on here and talking with us and sharing all these ideas. And most of all, I appreciate you making this wonderful film and following your inner voice to make it a reality. I'll give you a big thank you on behalf of your intuition for doing that.
Thank you.
And you guys out there, you can watch Heal, the documentary, on Netflix. And there's also a companion book that you can get on Amazon or anywhere. It's a wonderful book. And you can check out more about Kelly's work at healdocumentary.com. Thanks so much, Kelly.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
It's been great.